হ্যালো বন্ধুরা, আশা করি তোমরা সবাই খুবই ভালো আছো। বন্ধুরা, 2025 সালে ইংরেজি সেকেন্ড সেমিস্টার এই তোমাদের কিন্তু 4টি প্রশ্ন রয়েছে। তোমাদের এই 4টি প্রশ্ন থেকে 2 নম্বরে 2টি লিখতে হবে, আর একটি কিন্তু 6 নম্বরই লিখতে হবে। তো চলো, এই তোমাদের প্রশ্ন একটি রয়েছে, সেটা হচ্ছে গার্ডেন পার্টি। এখান থেকে আজকে আমি তোমাদের সামনে 6 মার্কের প্রশ্ন এবং উত্তর দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করতেছি। দেখো, এখানে শুধুমাত্র অল্প কয়েকটি রয়েছে, এই কয়েকটি ভালো করে পড়ে নাও। এখান থেকে তোমরা, আশা করি তোমরা এখান থেকে কমন পাবেই। আমরা জানি যে ফার্স্ট সেমিস্টারে আমরা এমসিকিউ পরীক্ষা দিয়েছি, এবার কিন্তু তোমাদের এমসিকিউ থাকবে না। এখানে 2 মার্ক, 3 মার্ক আর 6 মার্ক। তো দেখো, প্রথম প্রশ্নের আমি বলছি, হোয়াট ডিড দ্য গার্ডেন পার্টি রিফ্লেক্ট অ্যাবাউট দ্য কন্টেম্পোরারি সোসাইটি? উত্তরে আসি, Catherine Metz feels the garden party shows a clear reflection of dynamics between the difference of rich and poor class people of society. The clear difference was there in the clothes and outward appearance of the Sheridan family and their workmen. Mrs. Sheridan was always aware of her class and now how to handle workmen for conducting works. On the other hand, Laura was so down to earth person and tried to mingle with workmen like normal people. She wanted to assist them in their works and communicate in friendly way, but she couldn't because workmen were not used to get such behavior from them. They wanted to complete their service and make them happy for some person. Laura was so touched with the sudden death and his family's suffering than her family members. She was wondering how her family could organize a garden party amid such accident. But her family made her understood that it was normal to organize party in such situation as mourning would not bring that person back to life. প্রথম প্রশ্নের উত্তর আমরা কিন্তু পেয়ে গেলাম। সেকেন্ড কোশ্চেন দেখো, এখানে বলছে স্কেচ দ্য ক্যারেক্টার অফ লরা। অ্যান্সার দেখি, লরা is the central character of Catherine Maxwell's short story The Garden Party. She is the youngest daughter of the Sheridan family. She is a dynamic character who involves all through the story. She appears to be an innocent girl living within the four walls of an affluent family. Her mother describes her as artistic. She has neither any experience of the harsh realities of life nor any social contact with the lower class people. As a result, she initially stammers when addressing the workmen appointed to set up the marquee. Gradually, she overcomes her inertia. She is impressed by the workmen. Her idea about the outside world develops. She feels an affinity for workmen. She prefers their friendliness and simplicity to the boys of her own class as their supervisor. She instructs the workers at the beginning, but later she becomes flexible enough to accept their suggestion. This flexibility makes her sensitive to Mrs. Scott's death. Mrs. She is terribly shocked by the fatal accident. She feels empathy for the grieving family and pleads for cancelling the party. Her inner struggle starts where she shows empathy for the Scots and questions the superficial values of her family. Laura slowly becomes aware of the social disparities between her wealthy family and the working class people. She is as sensitive to the sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and tasks in her work as that in the outer world. When she leaves the garden and goes to the improvised neighborhood, her innocence fades. She gains new experience. The date of Mr. Scott opens her eyes. Her visit to the Scott's cottage is actually a journey of leaving behind her sheltered childhood and moving towards experience. She ventures into the unknown and encounters death. Gazing at Mr. Scott's corpse, she transforms into a new person. This person's perception of life and death is different from Laura. Instead of being repulsed by the deceased, is she is struck by the glimpse of peace and freedom from life's troubles that appeared on his face. Laura's character reminds us of Oscar Wilde's Happy Prince, who is shaken by the sorrows and sufferings of the common people. এরপর দেখো 3 নম্বর কোশ্চেন দেখো। 3 নম্বর কোশ্চেন হচ্ছে গুড মর্নিং she said copying her mother's voice. Who is she? Why did she copy her mother's voice? Why did she stammer? What made her recover? দেখো in Catherine Maxwell's short stories, the garden party, the person she is the present context refers to Laura, the youngest daughter of the Sheridan family. With a place of buttered toast in her hand, Laura flew out of the house. She met the workmen in the garden and felt a little embarrassed. She did not know how to begin. As a result, she tried to address the workers as her mother would. She believed that initiating her mother's confidence and assertive manner would enable her to supervise the workers more effectively. She felt ashamed of her unnatural voice and became flustered, so she stammered. The tallest worker's natural and friendly smile allowed Laura to recover, impressed by the worker's friendliness and lack of the pretense. Laura then switched to a more natural and conversational style. 4 number question দেখো, what lesson can we learn from Catherine Maxwell's The Garden Party? We can learn many lessons from the character Laura of the story The Garden Party. From the beginning, we can see that Laura was very kind, generous, soft-hearted, and sensitive person. Her value and beliefs are quite different from the other members of her family. To see workmen's friendliness, she failed to be friend with them. But other people of higher class at that time preferred to keep distance with lower class and treat them as they are. This class division and social taboos could not affect Laura's thought. When she heard about the death of Mr. Scott, she felt the arrangement of the garden party should be cancelled. She felt it was inhuman behavior to arrange party in time of someone loss and suffering. She could not stop party against her family, but she managed to go with basket full of food to the slum where Mr. Scott and his family lived. She realized how life was different from them, and so was their sufferings. We have learnt moral values, humanity, and how to behave with others, irrespective of their classes from Laura. 5 number question দেখো, describe the setting of the garden party. Setting is the combination of place, time, and environment that provides the general background for the character and plot of a literary work. The time in which the garden party is set a day in early summer in the first decade of the 20th century. The weather was fine. There was no wind and the sky was clear. Maxwell based Laura and the Sheridan household too loosely on herself and her own family. Geographically, The setting comprises two different locations separated by a broad road. The first one is the Sheridan's home. It is a large upper class house with a lovely garden. It is located on the top of a hill. The house is spacious with many rooms, an attic veranda, and a porch. It encourages a smoking room, a dining room, a large kitchen area, and a drawing room. A green lawn, roses, and exotic flowers are part of the well maintained garden. The second location is on the other side of the road. The poor workers live there in improvised cottages. It is a gloomy vault where the grieving family of the Scott live with their mourning neighbors. In this neighborhood, the gardens are a source of food, not a aesthetic joy. The Scott's shabby cottage starkly contrasts the Sheridan's house. This is the vault where Laura Laura's encounter with death changes her perception of life and death. As a whole, the setting serves as a background for Laura's journey from innocence to maturity. 6 নম্বর কোশ্চেন দেখো, you will have to go, Laura. You are the artistic one. Who says this? Where will Laura have to go? What is the context of the speech? Why will Laura have to go? Answer. In Catherine Maxwell's short story The Garden Party, Mrs. Sheridan says this to Laura, the youngest daughter of the Sheridan family. The Laura have to go to the garden. পরের পর দেখো, at breakfast, Mrs. Sheridan and her daughters make jokes and Laura are talking about the arrangements for the garden party. Mrs. Sheridan declares that she wants to leave the responsibility of arranging the party to her daughters. The discussion is interrupted by the arrival of workmen at the front gate. At that moment, Mrs. Sheridan instructs Laura to supervise the workers engaged in putting up the marquee. When the workman arrives, Meg's hair is wet and Josh is not properly dressed. So Laura is the only alternative left to be sent to the garden to supervise the workers. Mrs. Sheridan also mentions that Laura is the artistic one among her daughters. As Laura is nominated by her authoritative mother, she will have to go. এবার 7 নম্বর কোশ্চেন দেখো, how does Catherine Maxwell use irony in the garden party? Answer. Irony is the opposition between expectation and reality. Irony plays a significant role in revealing the characters and their situations in Catherine Maxwell's short story. The title of the story itself is ironic. Although the title indicates a luxury part in the garden of the wealthy Sheridan family, a greater part of the story is concerned with the reactions of the Sheridan family to Mr. Scott's death. The fatal accident of a poor Carter puts all the characters to test. Only Laura is sensitive enough to show empathy for the poor neighbors. Others consider Laura's sensitivity absurd and extravagant. It is ironic that Mrs. Sheridan expresses her intention of leaving everything about the preparation of the party to her daughters when, in reality, she controls the whole affairs. The central character, Laura, imitates her mother's authoritative voice in addressing the workmen. Soon she realizes that such an imitation is unnatural. In place of dominating the workers, Laura is impressed by their friendly behavior. She instructs them, but ultimately she accepts their proposal. It is equally ironic that the beautiful Karaka trees are hidden by the mark. Impressed by a worker's gesture of smelling a dried up lavender sprigs. Laura forgets all about the caracas. She thinks of having such workmen for her friends in place of the silly boys she danced with. Overhearing the news of Mr. Scott's death, Laura is terribly shocked. She pleads for cancelling the party, but Josh and her mother reject her proposal. After Laura discovered her beauty in a hat, she changes her opinions, which she values over others' opinions. The same Mrs. Sheridan who turns down Laura's proposal now sends Laura to the Scott family to deliver a basket of leftover food. Laura does not agree with Mrs. Sheridan's idea of sending leftover food to the grieving family, but she ultimately does go there with the basket. While Laura is going down the hill, she is preoccupied with the gaiety of the part and forgets about empathizing with the Scots. But when she reaches there, she feels ashamed for her dress and hat. Laura's confrontation with death ironically changes her perception of life and death. As Laura meets Larry on her way back, she irony reaches its peak point. Laurie expects Laura's experience to be awful, but Laura describes it as marvelous. Although the story irony functions as the cohesive force that binds all its parts together. Last question देखो. Do not be so extravagant. Who said this and to whom? In which context did the speaker say so? What do you consider to be really extravagant? Answer. Josh, one of the daughters of the Sheridan family, said this to Laura, the youngest daughter, one, in Catherine Maxwell's short story The Garden Party. When the delivery man shared the news of Scott's death, Laura and Josh overheard it. Laura was terribly shocked. Laura told Josh that they had to postpone the party. Josh called Laura's proposal absurd and extravagant. Josh explained that no one would accept them to cancel the garden party just because of a poor Carter's death. Here the word extravagant means doing more than necessary in an uncontrolled way. The garden party arranged by the Sheridans is the very definition of extravagance. The irony is that the luxurious party, not Laura's proposal to cancel the party, is extravagant. But Josh accuses Laura of being extravagant of her sympathy for the grieving family. The narrator too is ironic in agreeing with Josh. তো বন্ধুরা, এই ছিল তোমাদের দ্য গার্ডেন পার্টির থেকে 6 মার্কের কয়েকটি কোশ্চেন। তোমরা এই কয়েকটি কোশ্চেন ভালো করে পড়ে নাও, এখান থেকেই তোমরা কিন্তু কমন পেয়ে যাবে।